Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. And one thing I keep seeing a lot is with the current situation going on in the United States, there's a lot of people in Sweden having a laugh, in Europe having a laugh, watching what's going on with American, with popcorn. And I'm not saying they're enjoying it necessarily, but they're looking at us in a way where they say, "This is so crazy what's going on in America. This could never happen here." And I think that that is the greatest mistake that could happen. Like one thing I always think about when you look at America and you look throughout history, a lot of things that happen in America then tend to hit the rest of the world 4 to 8 years later. And I think this is a switch situation like that. And there's a couple factors on why it happened, but then I'm also going to give you my example of how it could happen in Sweden, because I definitely think it's possible. One thing you got to keep in mind is it really matters who your leaders are and who your president is. So, I don't hate these people that are diehard about Trump, because I feel like he alienated them from their friends and family and people that were on the other side. He constantly said that Democrats were evil. He constantly said that if he lost this election, everything would be over and the country would be destroyed. And then when he finally lost the election, he told everybody it's a fraud. And if these people believe the president and they believe every word he said, this idea that he didn't incite violence is crazy to me, because if President Trump is telling the truth, which he's not, of course, how can you not justify what's happening if you're a Trump supporter, like a hardcore? And so it really matters who your leaders are. And keep in mind that what's happening in America probably wouldn't have happened if our leader wasn't saying what he was saying. On top of that, this is one of the worst economic times we've had in the United States since the Great Depression. And so with COVID and everything and all the stress with that, it led to a perfect storm. And not to mention, on top of all of that, that you have, for example, Russia. I mean, this war going on online, and I don't know why people don't talk about this. Like, you have countries spending billions, if not trillions of dollars in total over the last 8 years, infiltrating our internet and just writing in the comments. Like, nowadays, war is not fought with, weapons and bombs. It's fought for people's ideas. I mean, all you got to do is look in the YouTube comments, CNN, I go there, or other places. You find these accounts that were only created months before the election or months before Trump says things were a fraud. And they have comment the same comments over and over and over again. And they are either bot accounts or they're real, people from Russia and things, writing in the comments to try to make it look like more people support Trump than what is true. It blows my mind that it doesn't get talked about more. So you have to keep in mind, you had those three factors. Plus, not only did you have foreign governments doing this, but you had a president was okay with it because it was supporting him. So it's not like the government was really fighting it hard because he was in charge. So keep all that in mind. Now, when we talk about Sweden and how it could happen here, this is just my example. I'm not saying it is going to happen. I'm against it happening. Let me just be clear about that. But if you look at the current situation in Sweden, you have and I'm not going to try to talk bad about any party here, because I don't believe in alienating a party. I don't believe that you can destroy the idea by just calling people oh, you're this and you're that. You know what I mean? I just don't want to get demonetized. But if you look at it, I'll just give you an example. SD is the third largest party in Sweden. And you have an election coming up relatively soon. And you have some of the same similar factors, because foreign governments do try to infiltrate the comments in Sweden, just not as much. They seem to do it, I saw it last election, just a couple months, because they got their own stuff going on. But if you look at everything here in Sweden, first thing is there's a high trust in government in Sweden. And that's one thing that would really stop what's happening in Sweden happening. However, the coronavirus strategy was kind of a failure and it didn't work. And don't hit that dislike button just because you disagree with me. This is just kind of the facts right now. So I believe that really hurt government trust. And if it continues to fail, it's going to hurt more and more and more. Not just that, but now this is what's going on in Sweden. It is a big stress to the economy. And Sweden has all these great benefits. And what if they have to cut back on some of those benefits? So suddenly you have this low trust in government, and then you have to cut back on some of these benefits. And what I see happening is probably SD becoming at least the second largest party in Sweden and not the third largest party in Sweden. So you're going to have a situation where the political party that's currently in charge is probably not going to be in charge in 2022 because of the failure that happened with coronavirus. Somebody's going to have to pay for it, and it'll probably be the politicians. So you're going to have this change of power, and it can create a situation where in another, not in this upcoming election, but then in the second election coming up. So then, 2 elections from now, people are in the same situation. They say, you know what? I'm tired of the government. I'm tired of what's happening. Let's put a different group in charge and see if it changes. And that opens up the door to a similar situation as in the United States. I'm not trying to say that like SD is like exactly like the US, like Trump people, because obviously SD is far more liberal than the American conservatism. And I'm not trying to tear that party apart right now. I'm just using it as an example. It could be another party. It could be a more extreme party. So what I think people don't realize is it doesn't take much to go on for people to change. If you add hard economic times, taking away benefits, and then on top of that, the internet being infiltrated by foreign governments, which would happen on top of this, that will happen when your election comes up. And I have 0 doubts about that. So the part of this video is it's easy to stand aside and laugh at Americans and have a laugh about this, although I personally don't think it's funny. I think the biggest thing that Europeans and Swedes should learn is that this could happen here, and it will happen here if people sleep on it. If you sleep on democracy, you will wake up in a dictatorship. And you had a situation in America where that happened. And if you disagree with me, all you gotta do is look at the comments on YouTube and a lot of different videos, and you will see that it's there in the background, and it's gonna happen if people set aside and do nothing. All that you need for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. This is a quote I really, really like. So, be vigilant, and tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Hej då!